We're live. Good evening, MLM Hangouts. We are slightly earlier. Normally we come on at 8, but we need an early night. I'm full of cold. Ed needs an early night always. And Maya works flipping hard and she deserves an early night.
I was up till 2 yesterday, so I'm hoping to go to bed today rather than tomorrow. So yeah.
Does help.
If you can see the red button up here, we are live. Come and say hello. If the red button is not there, hashtag a replay. We are using StreamYard. Ed is pointing up where the link will be for you to give us permission to see your names. Hello, Sue Pearson. Lovely to see you. Now, I wanted to give a little bit of an introduction to how I became aware of Maya. So Ed and I were part of a MIB course around, what was it called? 10 days?
Visibility?
No, I think it was a branding one.
The branding like a badass.
Yeah, not with Holly. It was the one before
with
Holly.
Leona. Yeah. Which, if you're from where I live, it's like branding like a badass, which doesn't sound quite as good somehow. But Maya was invited to come along and talk about storytelling, but told her story, and I just sat there and sobbed, and then followed her and pretty much stalked her. And I think you may have slightly mentioned an idea of doing something, but it was such early stages at that point.
Yeah.
And I just thought May was amazing and somehow wanted to get her involved in the hangout. And then now this has come out, we're here. So I'm going to hand over to Ed. I'm going to turn my mic off because I need to cough, because Ed has got a question for you.
Yes, pretty much like Becca, we did go on a bit of a stalking mission, and obviously it was very early days for what you were planning. So we just wondered if you could tell us, and obviously all the guys in the hangout, a little bit about what Social Media Kindness Day is all about and how your idea came about.
Okay, so I'll go rewind a little bit to what's happening at the moment. So I've been in celebrity management and PR for 16 odd years, and it sounds like, you know, when people see celebrity manager, PR to the stars, it sounds glamorous. I assure you it's not all red carpet and glamour, honestly. When people say, what do you do, my answer is dealing with divas, because that's what 4 a.m. phone calls, that's what the job is. So I have been meaning to get out of the industry and never been able to. It was always like something would pull me back in, and I loved my job. I loved being able to control the lives of these people who I grew up seeing on TV on Saturday night. And that, I'm a girl from Nottingham, and this wasn't promised to me. It wasn't what I said I was going to do in careers sessions. So I took everything for what it was. Hated the whole fame side of it, so always kept behind the scenes. And then obviously, like most of your viewers would know, Caroline Flack, who was a TV presenter, she had an awful time, personally, but also via social media and the press. They were horrible to her, and to the point that you wouldn't get away with it if someone came up to you and said those things that, the likes of Fathers for Justice were saying to her. And they were sort of constant. And when you're going through a bad time, I know certainly when I've been in a bad time personally, I sort of hide away. I don't see my friends. My phone's at my hands, at the fingertips. So obviously Caroline was reading all of these. Sadly, the day after Valentine's, Caroline took her own life. And that, some people will never know the reason why she did that. But no doubt it was whatever was going on. And I call it, it was trial by social media. At the end of the day, Caroline wasn't found guilty of anything. The altercation that was reported in the media, her boyfriend wasn't wanting to press charges. So, but then the opinion of trolls and everyone online became, Fathers of Justice called her you know, husband beater and also just really, really nasty things. So when that happened, I became really angry with the press as much as with the industry. And if I'm honest, it wasn't the first time I heard about things like this happening, but it was the first time I think that it really hit me, cut me too deep for it to be okay. And she wasn't a client, I knew as a friend, but it just became too hard to then put on a face and speak to the press and everything. So I decided that I would leave the industry, not knowing what I wanted to do. And I thought, look, I wanted to leave for ages. And then a month later, obviously, COVID happened, which is the bitter side of it, because part of me thinks if Caroline had just held out a little while, you know, the world is so different now. You know, maybe she wouldn't have got the abuse she had. So I decided, I moved my business online and did PR for businesses, and it became more worthwhile than it has written for celebrities, because you actually, you know, help someone's child's ballet classes by getting them in the press. And, you know, I just loved it. But Caroline was still very much in my mind, and I wanted to do something. And I thought, what can I do? And Caroline, although, and I love this, social media, when she died, the Be Kind hashtag went viral. It was, everyone had it on their banners. And I loved that, because Caroline was very inclusive, like as a person. If she didn't know somebody and they were left out of the crowd, she'd invite them in. She was very kind. So, you know, I wonder, had she been a bit more active online and those Be Kind messages weren't her, it wouldn't have associated it with her. So everyone was being kind and saying we need to be kind. And then COVID hit, and then Boris was in hospital, and everyone wished him dead. And I just thought, what has happened? Be kind. You know, these are people's lives, and I get the fact that people don't think celebrities read these messages they send, and they think they don't have feelings. I am the one that hears it at sort of 10 o'clock at night, 2 o'clock in the morning, because it's human nature, isn't it? We can get 1,000 lovely comments, and you two are in business, you know what it's like, as well as your viewers. You get so many lovely messages. It's probably that one that's negative, and it sticks. And having moved online, I've got my fair share of abuse, and I can handle it because I've done the psychology of trolls, and I see, you know, happy people at the end of the day don't leave negative comments online. So I really wanted the world to know about Caroline. I wanted it to be that my children would know who Caroline was, and she would live on, just like we talk about past prime ministers. We would talk about Caroline. And I decided to set up, I wanted to do something around her birthday, which should have been her 41st birthday on Monday. And I wanted to do something, I didn't know what. And it is World Kindness Day as well later that week. So I thought, Social Media Kindness Day, what better legacy to have her name live on. And then I thought of Be Kind. Well, that happened, and then nothing happened with it. And I wanted more, something more than just a hashtag or a day. I wanted a movement. So on our website, we've got, you know, pledge to play your part in being kind. That doesn't mean by doing so you're not kind. What it means is, as being on social networks, we have a responsibility when we're on these sites to be kind and make it a safer, happier, enjoyable place for all. We do business here more so now than ever before. We network, we socialize out of, you know, we're heading to a second lockdown. We're in second lockdown. So it's needed. But when I was hearing business owners going online, they were like, oh, I don't want to go on Twitter because you get abused and you get it. It's like it comes with a territory. Oh no, like, you know, you have to put a password into social media when you sign in. It was almost like, oh no, but it comes with abuse and I don't want it. Or I want a private account. Well, no one's going to see your private account if it's for, you can't for business. So I thought social media kindness day, let's pledge, let's somehow next year get 1 million pledges. Think big, why not? But also I've been guilty of it. When we've seen trolling or bullying online or negative comments, we fall into the narrative, don't feed the trolls, you know, as in, oh, don't respond to them, leave them, they'll go away. They don't. They fester, they become worse. So I really wanted to call them out with kindness. So on our website, there will be memes you can download if you're not comfortable. And look at people power. During this pandemic, we've seen what people power can do. And Marcus Rashford, one of the examples. So if more people do say, look, please remember that being online, you leave an imprint. It's there forever. You wouldn't want that to be your imprint, negativity, and just remind them. But also, when there is trolling and bullying, there's also somebody on the other end of it that's a victim. And more now so than ever, what happens to that person? They may live on their own. They may have no one to turn to. And it's just checking up on them. So just as trolling can kill and does kill people, kindness can save lives. And again, if you're not comfortable approaching, you know, people online that you don't know, there's things you can download, kindness messages that just sends them. And you never know the power of kindness. You know, when I look at a lot of my friends now, especially this year that I've met, they're all online. When people say, oh, how did you meet? I'm like, Facebook. And then it doesn't seem, you know, it's becoming more known. When 10 years ago you say, how did you meet? You think internet, you're like, oh, you know, it's becoming a known way of life, the way we interact and socialize. And we're the first generation to go through, you know, to be on social media, to use it in the way we are. Let's not make the second generation or the next generation coming after that seem that bullying, trolling, negativity is accepted or tolerated. That, you know, social networks are a business. They're clearly not doing anything about it. So people power once again are going to win, I think. And so it's the most personal project I've ever done. I'll shout about it day and night. I live and breathe it because it's needed, and we can't have other Carolines in that situation. So that's a really long.
Yes, totally with you. No, that's.
Go on, Becca.
What were you saying, Ed?
We've seen it this week. Somebody that me and Becca both know has been trolled, and it has been absolutely horrendous and vile. And I was just like, how ironic that just as we're trying to do our bit to raise awareness for what you're raising awareness for, the things that people say online, and you just think there is no way anybody would say that to somebody in person. It's just shocking. You imagine it from little kids, but these are grown adults that are doing it. And I've explained to my little one was 13 when she put a comment online, and I was like, you don't understand that is there for everybody to see. And it's only Instagram. I was like, yeah, it's only available for the entire world to see. But this week we've seen grown adults being absolutely vile, and it is time that people did raise awareness. So I do think it's an absolutely amazing cause.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And, you know, I've been speaking to members of the press this week and stuff, and they're all saying it's great, it's amazing. And I'm like, no, let's create more for movement. Don't just give me words, because the hashtag was great, you know. And one thing I just want to remember is that you said you've got. So I don't know if you remember these. I had this since I was 8 years old. I collect I collect them now online, trolls. You know, it doesn't bother me because I know that they're not happy people. You know, you can't be happy if you're going online leaving negative comments. They just don't happen. So when I do get the negative comments, and I hope if your viewers do, they think of this. I mean, they were cute when we were growing up, you know, 30 odd years ago. This has been with me. Little did I know that I would collect them online as well.
So I have a confession. I actually got grounded because I cut all of my troll's hair off.
I knew you were going to say that. I did it to my sisters just to wind her up.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe. I'm glad you know. I mean, the hair's discoloured. I don't know what happened. Maybe someone else did something like that. But you can't do that.
You do it to a troll.
Sorry, I promise it wasn't me. But I think so one of the reasons, okay, let's maybe take a step back. So we set this group up for network marketers because network marketing has a really bad reputation because of some of the practices that some network marketers have used and continue to use. So I think, and I can see there's already some comments in here, like we get trolled a lot because of the name of the industry. So not because maybe we've done something wrong, and actually the person that Ed was talking about earlier, that is exactly what it is. It's because they are a network marketer, and that's why these people were like attacking that
but
person.
You triggered them. Let's rephrase it. You frame it. You've triggered them.
Yeah.
You know, if they're not triggered, and I always say to my clients, you know, especially when I was in my agency, priming them for being famous or even more famous, you've not made it until you get your first troll, the bad comments, because you can't please everyone.
Yeah.
And if you did, you're doing something wrong. You're not living your life. So unless this person that you're referring to pays your mortgage, don't give them any more. And if they do pay your mortgage, find a way of paying your own mortgage, because like, unless they do, they have no say on what you do or your life. But you know, bring it on because you made it, and that's reframing. That's all it is. Seeing it as something else. You've triggered them. If you were playing safe and just doing your own thing, no, but you're helping other people.
Yeah.
And you can only have a bad opinion of something if you're not in it. And even then, you hear about it from somebody else. You know, years ago, Skoda had a bad name. Other people, guys at school, were like, "Oh no, we'll never get a Skoda." I didn't know about it, and for years I grew up thinking Skoda, but now they're like decent cars.
They're the police cars, aren't they? It's what the police use. They're a good car.
Exactly. So you just think that, you know, you will get the comments. Had that person met you at an event, they would never say that because they see your reaction. If you said to me, "I really don't like your eyebrows," I'd be like, you see the reaction. You know, you see the hurt in my eyes or how I took it. We don't do that online. We don't even know if people read it. Or, you know, that's why celebrities are the most trolled people online. I mean, Meghan Markle, who's kindly given us a comment and supported Social Media Kindness Day, you know, she was the most trolled person in 2019. When that came about, she got even more abuse and trolling for that. And you think, go figure. You know,
if someone is being trolled, what advice would you give to that person?
To the victim?
Yeah.
I mean, the easiest thing to do is block and delete. But, you know, for me, I think you have to build a resilience. If it's your first time getting trolled, let's not face it, it's horrible. You put your phone away, it hits too deep. So if it's your first, you know, reframe it, screenshot it, share it on your Facebook. Every time I've, you know, had trolling and I shared it on my Facebook, the comments I've got. So maybe for that one comment. Allow yourself to receive other compliments and remind from people who know you and like you. This is coming usually from somebody you don't know. You know, a friend of mine said, a client of mine said, oh, I've been sworn at today by somebody I don't know. It never seems to come from people who actually know you. And if it does, they're triggered, you know, meaning that you're doing something right and they're upset by it. So, and then if it gets too much, block, delete. You know, you have that function, block and delete. Or download a tool for one of the means from Social Media Kindness and remind them with kindness to be kind, because goodness knows they need kindness as much as anyone else.
Well, this is this is what I did today when it was happening to my friend. I just private messaged the troller the link to Social Media Kindness Day website, because I was like, it's just not needed. One thing I would say, please, lots of you know that I work with young people's mental health charity. You're not alone. Please inbox me or Ed at any time, because feeling alone bit is the hard bit. It's nothing to be ashamed of if someone's trolling you. It's not. You don't need to feel ashamed of that. Please use the group as an area of support. I just don't want anyone to feel alone. And obviously, in the UK, there is the Samaritans. If you need to talk to somebody, do not be alone. Ed.
Just one thing, guys, if you are sharing a screenshot into here, you're more than welcome to. We have done ourselves, just crop the name bit out of it, guys, because there has been one occasion where it was somebody from here. They didn't stay in here very long after they'd done it, but it did cause a few moments of angst when we realised. I was like, oh, that person's actually just seen it. But yeah, I'm glad you got that message to that folder, Becca, because they blocked me while I was getting the website link. I was like fuming. I was like, you beat me to it.
I just thought there's no point. You can't argue with stupid. So kill him with kindness. I tried to be kind. I tried to be understanding of their opinion. They were unable to back their opinion up. So I just sent them the website.
Yeah. And can I just give you one scenario that might help a lot of your listeners? So I've done in the career I've been in a lot of work with trolls and trolling, and especially it worked on a documentary about trolls. One of the person we tracked down, it was a persistent troller, was a policeman, and that on his own, I've seen your Becca, he was a policeman. He'd go to his shed at the end of the day, and his wife and children wouldn't know. We tracked him down, and it was his way of release, being mean to somebody else online. And it was a life he lived that his wife and children never found out. So when you think of it like that, there are so many different reasons. And to an extent, when he was talking about why he did it, I understood the fact that he didn't put a person to that. He put a name. He put somebody on that was on TV, you know, and so didn't associate it. So when Caroline passed away, what I loved was everybody, you know, friends of mine said, I cried and I didn't even know her. It really hit deep. And it was because she came into people's living rooms, impacted people's lives. People didn't think that could happen to her because she seemed strong, full of life, bubbly. And if somebody can troll someone to that extent that made her life hell. Now, I'm not saying they are the reason she took her life, but it certainly didn't help make her life better, you know. And people have opinions. They're given, doesn't mean it's right. And, you know, it's the people around you whose opinions you should listen to and count. So when you know there's been a police officer that had been trolling, it kind of puts into perspective, because it's not a type of person you think of. But you know, I guess the work I've done with trolling, I look at people and think most people, I mean, you guys are helping other people get their own businesses, but most people live 9 to 5, living somebody else's life, going to work unhappy. They come home, probably spend 4 hours watching somebody else's live on Coronation Street and EastEnders. Then they log onto their phones and see people living their best lives. And then they think, well, I'm nowhere near, I'm so far away. And rather than spend that 4 hours after work on progressing themselves and self-development, they do the easiest thing possible, go online and be negative and let out all this angst and stress in the wrong way possible. So they need kindness more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Ed, I think you've got one last question. Just then you can go to bed, Maya.
Probably
Last
won't.
question. We always say this, don't we? We have to every time. We'll just log off and then we'll go to bed and then we're done. Yeah, final question we wanted to ask you was, what do you think that network marketers can do to support social media kindness there?
Just get on board like you do with your group. You know, network marketing is all about getting people to believe in your product and be a community. You know, if you apply those principles to a campaign, spread the word, you know, loud and proud, and do the sign. So we're getting people to do that sign. It's all over my t-shirt, which you might, I don't want to flaunt my chest on screen. I'm not even getting in the, you might find some
familiar faces on there.
I don't know, am I close enough?
I can see Edwina already. She's right on your boob.
I was the first one, so Ari was most impressed. She was like, look, Maya put me first because I was the prettiest. I was like, Ari, you're so vain. But yeah, I did post it into the Hangout earlier. I don't tell her that. We'll never hear the end of it. She's the youngest person in the group at the moment. Well, I think she will be for quite a while. But yeah, we did post it in the Hangout earlier and asked if people could spot people that they knew.
Oh, I did see that. Someone said that they spotted Leona as well, because I got her. She kindly did it, and Holly as well. And yeah. So.
Oh, I didn't spot Holly. I'll have to go and have another look.
She's in the white. She's in a white.
I see. Second row.
Yeah, where is she?
Yeah, second row. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the way network marketers come together, they're a force to be reckoned with. And also, one thing I'm impressed by is the amount of self-development that you do, which if you're setting up in business, goodness knows you need that self-development, the list of books to read and improving yourself. And if you're on your own setting up in business, you don't know or have access to those tools. And then you all come together, supporting each other, going out into the world and shouting about how wonderful your products are, and then building a community. And of course, that's going to get people on the wrong thinking negatively, because if you're building a tribe, and you know, yeah, that's one of those words, but you're building a tribe, so of course that's going to be not sitting right for people, because it's like, well, there's only one of me and there's a whole lot of them. And you know, but actually, if it was illegal, if it was wrong, I think the government would have shut you down a long time ago. So I guess it's just doing it the way you do your business.
Fab. So share the message.
That whole thing. That is it. Instead of me trying to reason with people, from now on, I'm literally going to have a picture of a troll and I'm going to write "be kind" across the bottom. Social media kindness state. I'm going to send them it, and then I'm going to block them before they block me. That's my new way of dealing with trolls.
That says a lot. Let them block you. That says a lot.
We've had some very nasty trolls going around recently. I think people have got more time on their hands, maybe, and I'm like, where did the more time to be unkind come from?
Well, you know what? It's sad, but I'm expecting a lot in the next few days.
Yeah.
And it's fine, because they're not, you know, be like, they're not my people, you know, and hopefully they'll get it. But look, it's hard times. It takes a lot of effort to be unhappy and miserable. Let's support each other. We need it more now than ever, especially here in the UK and other countries. And what you do is bring people together. So thank you very much for having me on here, but also before here, championing this, being on the t-shirts, and just getting a lot of people.
Can't do it with
Yeah.
both. Oh yeah.
Hang on, I can't get a screenshot with both hands. Hang on, I'll get a screenshot. There we go.
There you go.
But yes, and anything we can do to spread the word, let us know. We'll funnel it into here, and then the 1 point however many thousand we've got in here now, which still blows our mind after only a year.
I was like, what?
Yeah, and you can, until Monday, you can change your profile picture to "I pledge to be kind."
Oh, mine's there, and I know a lot. I know a lot of the Hangout, and we're both MIB leaders as well for our local areas. I know a lot of them they're on board and they're doing it. But yeah, please, everybody, get involved in this. And I feel like it is really our duty and responsibility right now to spread love, kindness. But life is what it is, and we always tell you to be you and be yourself and market yourself before you market your products. But just go and spread a bit of joy. If I can go online and face paint myself Halloween with no face paint, just makeup, and make an absolute of myself just to make other people laugh, like, you can do it. Doesn't need to be about your product. Just go out and make people smile.
Yeah, I may be spearheading this, but I alone can't do it. Let's all get behind. It's everyone's day. It may be a personal project, but I can't get the word out there. So it's everyone's. Be the first 1,000 to sign the pledge before it goes massive. Be one of the pioneers, I guess.
Yeah, that's the thing, guys. We're using social media anyway. Everybody in here posts however many times a day on Facebook. Use it for a cause. It's going to take you one post, but that post can reach, look how many people on your friends list. So if I put one post up, the potential to reach 3,000 people with a be kind message, it's a no-brainer. I think we all have a responsibility to post that one post, share that one thing that does make a difference on other people's lives. And as we've just said, there are a number of people in this group that have experienced being trolled firsthand. So it's not even always about the celebrity. It's the person next door, the person in the group. We all know Enna Burton's in this group. Enna was trolled at 12. So think about the people it could. And unless we do our bit to raise awareness, things aren't going to change. I know my children have been taught social media awareness at school, but somehow they missed the part where they explained that there is a person at the end of that mobile phone. And Ari's upstairs and I hope she doesn't watch this back, but we all know Ari is pretty clever and she's pretty genius, but she still hadn't put 2 and 2 together and thought that would actually impact on a person. And when I said it to her, she was pretty mortified, and we all need to do our bit to raise that. Right, I'm going to get off my soapbox now.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Good.
Let's go and spread some kindness and also go to bed. So anybody who is doing Success Summit online that starts tomorrow, Ed and I will see you in there. Let us know what room you're going in, and we'll decide if we want to join the same room or go into another one. I'm joking. I'm joking. We'll see you all there. Have a fabulous weekend, and everyone rock Social Media Kindness Day on Monday. Bye.